a flat up in Chicago with a keyboard and some tea. Lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius! He's got a plugin for that. Clicks and tricks from his marketing hat. Evil genius! He's the WordPress king. With Spencer, baby, you can launch anything.
It's Friday, December 26th, 2025. I already see I've got some questions waiting for me from Deneen. Come on show. So today I decided what I wanted to do is the day after the holiday weekend, but the sort of before the rest of the holiday is over. And I like to just take advantage of the fact that I have so many Marie Kondo things that have been necessary to be done. Today I wanted to, and if my voice cooperates, kind of walk everybody through this at a relaxed pace. I'm going to try to keep my voice relaxed. I wish it was brighter outside because it feels like I'm in the dark. In fact, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to see if my camera will pick this up. Hold on. I'm not really sure why it's so crappy out, but at least we could spend this time together and I can go through some of the things that are coming, because one of the things that has really become clear to me, and it's important to me, is that I lead by doing. And for myself, the time between July and now has been really revolutionary. I think, quite frankly, this is going to go down. 2025 is the transitional year for a lot of people. I mean, for me especially, because I've been just joking about it, but I'm serious at the same time, that this is my 59th year. It's weird as shit to say that. But when I'm 60 and beyond, I intend to be fully set up with doing something that gives me the ability to help other people exist in a world where everything is changing quickly. And I can't do a lot of things outside the scope of technology or psychology or business. But I can give advice on being resilient and adaptive to change, how to reinvent oneself. I can give advice about, from my own experience, how I've changed along with the times as life has thrown things at me. And to be quite frank, it's very fun. It's really fun for me to be able to invent stuff, to build stuff that allows people to make a livelihood from home or from their office in a way that maybe wouldn't have existed without me in the world. So if I can be of service in that way, while also benefiting myself, I feel like I'm continuing a journey I started when I was 10 years old, which was to seek out problems that I can solve for myself, figure out how to fix them, test them, offer them to people, and then when people think that they solve their problems, offer those for sale, and the cycle repeats. Today in particular, I would like to share the screen and talk about Simple Site, the FluentMCP minute launch, Canvas block. I think those four things are going to be the tools that leverage all of us into a new place, a new space. Notice I'm sharing my entire StreamYard deck here. I wish they had an offering where this could be sort of floated on the screen but not seen, if you know what I mean. I think that would be super cool. But let me see if I can arrange this anyway. Okay. So what I want to do here is I did do a really fun little video this week that showed I'm using my Stream Deck to organize stuff. I also learned, I was very pleased. here's my Stream Deck. I was able to put all of my dudes into their own buttons. And the Stream Deck allows me to create these things. I'm moving it with my fingers here, where anything I want to get to really quick can be launched from a button. I think that's actually, for me, been pretty cool and pretty revolutionary towards what I'm going to show you, which is I've been basically trying to set up a situation where, what if WordPress as a solution could be launched in seconds, in minutes, and quite frankly, do so in a way that puts everything you need in one screen. Now, I'm going to show you on the left. I've got my dude on the left who's helping me write the plugin, Minute Launch Simple Site. I'm just going to minimize him a bit because we don't need him at the moment. Minute Launch Simple Site. Good morning, Lloyd. Happy holidays to you, my friend, and I hope you're enjoying yourself and taking this time also to kind of let your brain unwind. I'm looking outside and I see my friend who is a couple years older than me and had an equal number of back surgeries, and I was worried that he might have had a fusion. And I see he's out walking, which is a good sign. So letting your brain unwind a little bit is really healthy. And okay, so let me get on track because today is definitely going to be super chill. Imagine if you really think about WordPress, and let me, before I do this, so I don't distract myself. Imagine with WordPress, 99% of what you do. To me, 99% of WordPress is I launch a site that has a couple components to do important stuff. It acts as a billboard. It acts as a sales page. It acts as a way to intake contacts. It acts as a way to deliver something of value. It could be coursework. It could be an online consultation. It could be videos. I, for one, am not enamored or married to the design skills that come from using a page builder. I think they were a tool that got us where we wanted to go when we needed it. But I am enamored with the efficiency of what can be delivered in WordPress. In other words, I think I'm going to use this today. I think if I go to Whimsical, I'm going to lay down some points. Let's just make a new chart. Office hours, 12, 26, 25. Hopefully my voice will come back too. I don't know why it's always like this, but all right. WordPress. Let's do the P correct. Website. What does this do for me? The WordPress website, what it does for me is the following. Let's do a list, actually. A billboard. Sales engine. Marketing funnel. I'm going to align these left so they look good. LMS. I'm going to say booking calendar. There's probably other things, but these are probably the most thing. I'm going to say newsletter. Say email marketing, email communication. Since 95%, 95% of what I do are these things, It would be really interesting if I could get the power, the ownership and control. I'm going to do the same thing here. You own it, own and control. Not SaaS. Infinitely flexible. Since WordPress provides this amazing way to get all of the benefits of ownership and control that isn't under somebody's rental agreement, and most of these things kind of look like this. I think we'll take this over here. I think that it would be really cool if we could get to this fast. And even though I built a bunch of tools that allow us to use the dudes, what if we could actually go even farther and put the dudes inside of the site? So I promised this a while ago, and I think I've got it. So here's how minute launch simple site works. And the scale of this is kind of bad. So, I mean, you guys let me know if you can see this. I think the scale of this is reasonable. Lloyd, if you can't read this, let me know. Imagine that, and I'll do this live with a new site. Imagine you could put in one plugin. And with one plugin, you could essentially set up the whole WordPress website, or your dude, the FluentMCP, could set it up for you. You could make it a single page site or a multi-page site. You could have it display on a specific page and everything navigates from there, or you can have it take over the site instantly without doing anything in WordPress. You could give it a title, show the title, choose your primary color, have a logo that is included or is the only thing at the top. You can even have the thing make the logo for you. You could choose to have navigation with a header at the top or not. It could be fixed or static, a certain height, a background, certain fonts. All of the things that are reasonably, it is really small. I wish I could make it bigger, but I'm worried if I make it bigger. I'll try to do it like this, but I'm worried it's going to change the way that things work. So sorry about that, Lloyd. I'll try to you can zoom in. This is an HD, so I think you can maybe zoom in. And I am sorry that I wish it was bigger, but I think this is the best I'm going to be able to do. If I do this, it might help, but the problem I'm worried about is the scale. So I'll try that. Okay. So imagine that you or the dude can set up the whole site. Now, here's a really cool thing. Imagine that whatever you build with this, it's all being built from one page. And that when you save it, you have different versions of what you built that you can scroll to and revert back to, newer and older. So in other words, you don't ever lose anything. You can continue to iterate. You can use it as a factory to generate new outcomes for yourself, for your clients, even if you just copied them out. I'm so sorry about my voice. I feel like I've been overusing my voice for the last month and I'm paying the price now. So you can generate outcomes for yourself, for your clients, and then export them, right, as a single JSON file. Similarly, for your clients, you can import it. So it becomes not just a thing that you can use on its own, but it's a factory for building cool stuff very quickly and instantly that you can immediately transport all of it. Now, I want to make a side note because this is interesting to me. It might be a little boring to you guys. If you've used any of the popular themes or page builders, and you know that I use Cadence, you can only transport parts of things. The complexity of how stuff works together in the WordPress ecosystem makes it almost impossible to achieve nirvana. Nirvana is what I think is happening here, which is nirvana is that you can have all of the setup, all of the navigation, all the configuration, all of the data in one package. You can't do that now with Cadence and WordPress. For example, Cadence lets you save the color scheme and move it around, but you can't move the color scheme in the menu in one package. If you created navigation and then you created content and then you had styles, those are three separate things to transport unless you wanted to copy the whole site and clone it. But when you copy and clone the whole site, you bring over a bunch of other aggravation with you, which is to say, it's like if you had an album back in the old days, kids, we used to make mixtapes. If you had a whole album and you wanted to just take a couple songs off of it and mix it together in a certain way and give it to somebody, you couldn't just copy the album. You had to like take parts of it and put it on some cassette reels and then have another cassette and move. It was really hard. So what this site setup and things of minute launch simple site do is, first of all, it lets you instantly get to an outcome design wise that's fully transportable along with all of the data, which is kind of really unique. Next, as a metaphor, before I get to the dude built in, why do we need to have all the other pages and posts? Most of us are really doing just these few things. Like, I want to own and control a sales engine, marketing engine that has a billboard, some products that I sell. I just want a site that does these 5 or 6, 7 things, and that's it. I don't need 120 plugins for that and all this complexity. So what if we just said, hey, why don't you just add a new block? New block, baby. And you can either manually or with the help of a dude inside or outside the site, add new content. So for example, new block, baby, and I'm going to be Spence. I'm just going to say Spence in HTML. It's my block, baby. And you don't need to do the tags, but you can see if I do this, it's just really basic. If I add this, I can then basically customize a site. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. And I've got, my new stuff at the bottom. If I wanted that at the top, why should it be so hard to just put that into the top right below the hero section? And if I don't want that in the navigation menu, why not just say, don't put it in the navigation menu? So when I refresh the page, notice I don't have it in the nav menu anymore, but right below the top of the site, it's my block, baby. Now, what if I wanted to make it better and I am a non-skilled designer, developer, HTML person? Well, we all know that I could just go to any online thing like Gemini, or I could go to ChatGPT. I could say, make a gorgeous full width panel for a WordPress site with HTML that says, it's my block, baby, and make it dynamic and easy to read with motion. Any of us can use the help of a dude anywhere in the browser, on our desktop, whatever. All you need to do is copy that and put it into this HTML block. You can take a quick sneak peek if you want, click Save Changes, and then refresh the page. And as simple as that, I've now got a dynamic layout where, look how simple this is. Hence the name Simple Site. I just made a new block. I gave it my own title. I put it where I wanted. If I want to put that at the top, new block baby, I can just drag it to the top. No big deal. Click save changes or preview. Either way, instantly, I will get the changes, right? So let me drag it so it works. Come on, baby. There. Save changes. Refresh the page. Super easy. Now, I'm being coy because there's a little toy under here. I'm going to get to this. If I wanted to, in the site setup, change this from, the title of my business, and I wanted to show this, I could say, my site, baby. Say, show the title, save the changes, refresh the page. I have the site with the logo or not. If I don't want the logo, I remove the logo, save the changes, and it's just the title, right? If I want to change the title to have it be a different color or something, I can do that too. I can change the font, all that kind of easy stuff. I mean, doesn't have to be hard. If I want to change the type of header navigation from this fixed to something else, scrolling, easy. Don't have to make it hard. If I want to hide that entirely, I just say, I don't want a header. I just hide it. And now it's just the site itself. Good morning. Having a live event, fellas. If I want to change the fonts here, to something else, I'll probably put more fonts in here, by the way, too, but just as a basic idea. And let's show the header. And we can change the link color to some crazy blue. Really pretty super easy to do this kind of stuff. Now, remember I showed you I can go back to a revision. Right now, this shows server time in UTC, so it's weirdly ahead. It's not really December 26th at 3:11. But if I wanted to, I could just revert back and use an older version of stuff. And if I do, it should go back. I'm not 100% sure, but it should go back to the things that I did before I changed. Let me talk about the dude. So like with this new block baby, I thought it was really interesting if I could make it that somebody could, if somebody could not have to set up a dude on their desktop. Like I right now have this dude on my desktop, which is Cursor. And Cursor is my go-to dude for all the design stuff. He's helping me build this actual plugin, but that's extra work. And in some cases, it's not really necessary. It's not worth it. What if instead of having to set up the dude, I could just do this? What if there was a dude built into this as a plugin? And you could just give him the same instructions like I gave to Gemini, but he's inside of any site ready to go. Make a gorgeous full width panel for a WordPress site. He already knows he's in here, but I'm just going to have him generate it. And what if we could choose our favorite dude? So if we like Sonnet, or if we like Opus, if we like Haiku, if we like ChatGPT, I don't know why. If you like Gemini 3, you could choose which dude. Now notice he just made the block. I can see the preview. What if I just copy what he gave to me? And by the way, let's save this and call it my site baby panel. And I'll call this, the type of panel is other, so that I've got this as a block to reuse for myself, for my clients. And then I go back over here and I open up this simple site and I just paste in what he gave me. And I click Save Changes and I preview the site. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to pause for a second. That's pretty crazy shit. I literally have a dude inside of a plugin that I'm instantly able to build crazy, awesome stuff with. And all the other things that will follow are making it more awesome and complex. But just from the standpoint of like simplicity, this is pretty wild. If I do say so myself, I'm pretty excited about being able to use this in practice. So let's do something for fun. Let's, we've already saved all the changes. Let's export the whole site just so I've got something in case. And let's delete this. Let's delete all of these. I probably will put a bulk delete choice in here at some point, but this version is what I call a release candidate 1. Good morning, Deneen. Deneen had some questions and she was texting me and I asked her to come on the show to see Simple Site because she has been working with her minute launch system and her dude's name is Junior. And Deneen, if you've been following along, I'm not sure if you just got in, this is the new Simple Site and it has the dudes built in. And I was about to show, we just had our dude, who's in this case Sonnet. I asked him a question in the chat to make a gorgeous full width panel. And he made a new panel for me that I saved in the block library. And I was just showing how I can take this, add a new block, paste it, and call it my site baby. And immediately I have a site exactly as I want. Now, I can reset all of the navigation and stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a scrolling site that's shown on a specific page that's called sample page instead of on the whole thing. I'm able to use a logo, which I'm going to show you some cool stuff in a second, but let's use one of the logos that I had him make me. And I don't need to show the title. And I'll use the system font and I'll make 16 pixels. So essentially I just set up the entire site with this alone and I can build from here. Now, if I want him to do more stuff, I just open up the dude and I start a new chat and I say, hey, I would like you to make me a cool header that is a sales page. And I want you to use the skills from this link here. Now, this is what's interesting. Remember, I talked about skill documents. Here's a skill document that's available to you and your dudes, designing hero sections that capture attention. When I take this and I just hand this over to the dude in my site, he will generate the block content. I don't have to set up anything. I literally can just let him build this. And when he builds it, I can use this right inside of the layout as whichever panel I want. And I'm done. And what's really interesting to me about that is the fact that this saves me from having to do any external setup whatsoever. I just go here, add a new block, and I'll call this, we know what the skill is. This is design hero sections. So I'll call it hero section. And I'm going to put this at the top. Notice we can collapse these to make it easier to manage. I click save. Let's take a look at my site now. So he's built the two panels. I can continue building and I want to tell him to make the colors different or something. Easy. The dude is in here. I could just continue the conversation. Say, I love what you did, but can you make it orange and gray and black and white? Things like the colors of the FluentMCP.com site. Instead of going and using an outside dude, I have everything I need in one panel here with one plugin in one WordPress site. And all of the changes that I'm making don't require the MCP anymore. I will still use the MCP, but I'm just saying it doesn't require the MCP. Notice he switched to just like FluentMCP. So now if I copy this and I go back to my hero section, I have a continuity where not only does the dude in the site understand what he's building, but I also have versions of everything I built in the same spot. So I'll save this now, and I'll show what I mean by continuity. So he literally went to FluentMCP, and he did just what I asked him to do. Like, here's FluentMCP, and here's what he built. It's pretty awesome, right? Now, what's the continuity Spence is talking about? Well, the dude, all my questions are saved as chats. So everything that he does or I ask him to do is here for future reference by him or another dude. If I go into the blocks, every block that he ever made is here for himself or the other dudes to use. Now, we're not going to refer to these things ourselves. This is just so that I want you to understand everything that was ever done is available for him and another dude in the site or otherwise to know, so that you can build this really powerful library of everything you've created, using this as a tool for yourself or for your clients, or even as hopefully the end site. And when you want to export stuff, there will be search and filter and bulk select that says, grab these pieces, pull them out, and reuse them somewhere else. I also, in this case, built an amazing documentation. Okay, and Deneen says, that dude is smart. I think it must be a dudette. I think you're right. Deneen, I need your help because you are so correct. Your dude is named Junior. We need a new word, a non-gender specific word for dudette. Dudette. This maybe is Angela, or I think Fred had called his dudette Arlene or something. I'm totally on board with that. Here's the documentation. The documentation is set up in my new style. Notice there's a continuity between inside and outside of the site because I've made an effort at this. So you or your dudette can know all of the kind of things that you can do with Simple Site without having to learn how to do this on your own. I'm getting a text from Julie Clark. On the road watching. Feature request, have the dudette put it in the section for you. I can see where somebody get lost. Okay. Julie brings up a really good point, and I want to bring this out. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Thank you, Julie. This is set up so that your assistant, whichever dude or dudette, can essentially get everything they need with one block on how to use this properly. I can foresee referencing the specific skills in the knowledge base, including the primary one, which is the constitutional framework, the one that keeps them from losing their minds and getting lost. But for right now, I'm very pleased that this has now come together with a continuity that you or your assistant can work this. Now, Julie asked a really important question. She asked me a feature request. Can the dudette create the block and put the stuff in the block? And that was what my original intention was and still is. Wouldn't it be awesome if the Insight dudette could be smart enough to not only create the content, but also be able to place the content? And the answer is yes, but the yes is it can already do it right now, even as I'm speaking, by telling it to make a multi-panel. Watch this. Create a multi-panel sales site similar to FluentMCP that has 5 sections that will be very powerful for selling minute launch simple site to people who don't know about it. make it in the same color scheme like FluentMCP, but alternate between light and dark panels, and give it all to me in one block. Now, this instruction would allow the dude or dudette to give me essentially one content block that's designed with multiple sections. And even though it's not placing it into the site, it's very powerful because all the pieces come at once. And I can have it still edit it and rearrange it and do the navigation. Everything else can work. Here's the problem that I came up with, and I think I had a solution during the middle of the night. When I first started this and I was wanting the dude to build the blocks and place the blocks, the chat in the left side that's connected is a remote API. You ask a question in the left panel, and it uses the canvas on the right side to build it, right? That in of itself is doable. Where it seems to have had trouble, however, is knowing which block existed and how to create the block and how to save the block. And the reason is because if you think about it, and you guys aren't writing code here, but I am, each of these individual blocks has to be dynamically updated by a third-party chat that's connected through an API. And it just doesn't have enough capacity to know what's there now and how to change what's there now, and then how to refresh the page and how to check on it. It's a multi-step process. It'd be like, let's say I ordered a pizza. If I ordered a pizza here in this window, hey, I'd like a cheese pizza with pepperonis, it could deliver it to this window here, no problem. But if I said, oh, listen, I want to serve a bunch of people at my house, bring pizza and slice it and put it on the plates for them, it would have to do 3 or 4 steps to understand who's already sitting at the table, what they've got, what they like, where they're at, what to do. There's too many steps. So the truth is, for right now, this is a compromise, but I think this is actually pretty good because watch, if I just took this and let's just add a new block entirely and pasted it in, I'll call this whole site block. I can have the navigation put into this if I wanted to not have to do the navigation with the simple site. And in doing that, I can really get an outcome that essentially does everything I need, but in one block, if that makes sense. Okay. So let's see what happens when I do this. I haven't asked it to do the navigation, but, and let's make sure I save it. Hold on. Whole site block. I'm going to make sure this is what I got. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to copy the code, paste that in. I pasted the wrong thing, I think. Save, preview. He did some weird stuff with the fonts, but you notice he made a multi-site, a multi-panel site. I mean, it looks shitty compared to what he did before, but it's there. If I asked him to fix that, I like what you did, but do better. First of all, I want you to not have all the weird AI emojis and the look and feel of AI. Make it look and feel just like the FluentMCP, and do the colors too, the orange, the blacks, the grays. But in this case, also include the full navigation at the top of this panel in the same style like FluentMCP so that it links down as a single site. So Julie and the rest of you guys, what I've said is, let's hide the navigation. Let's turn off my navigation here. No navigation. Let's let the dude build for me a full site with one request. And in doing so, it's going to give me the full site. Lloyd's got a good question. Should you tokenize it or put some special hidden code in it that the dude can pull in? I'm going to get to that magic trick, that cool functionality. And what Lloyd is asking about is well, I'm not sure if you're asking what I'm thinking you're asking, but what I think you're asking is, wouldn't it be cool if I had the capability to add special functionality in this? Like, what if I had the ability for it to make a gorgeous page that, oh, I don't know, was connected directly to Fluent CRM, and in doing so could instantly have full marketing sales funnels without any setup or work from you? Wouldn't that be cool? I think it would be, and I think I'm going to show you that. So I'm going very chill. See, now watch what he did. So he gave me now this full site, much better look and feel. I'm going to delete these other two sections. And let's see what we've got now. So now notice I've got a dark header. It's got the navigation built in. It did all of these sections dark, which is awesome because I asked it to, but I need to clarify one more thing. I love what you did here, but make the navigation white with dark letters, and also alternate the panels between black with white text and white with black text, so it has some alternation. You can also mix in some light gray background. Make sure the fonts are visible. So I'm working with it here, and it can do some really cool stuff to continue to upgrade. And this is Sonnet 4.5, by the way. But what the outcome to me means is that I can make the look and feel easy, manage it, and I've got a whole history of it here. And if I export it, I can save it or use it on another client site because these are all self-contained. I also don't run the risk of losing what I did because since everything is saved as post types, I have full revision capability. Notice in the site setup with the revisions, I have up to 10 versions of this automatically saved. It's very difficult for me to lose what I built. I mean, it's possible, but very unlikely. So he's fixing this. While he's doing that, I'm going to go over here to another thing. I'm going to go over to InstaWP, and I want to show you what Lloyd was asking about because I have this running in a separate site. I did some updates to the Minute Launch Canvas block, and you guys have this version. This was the fairy tale of what if I could have just two plugins. I'm going to zoom this in a bit. What if I could just have FluentMCP and the Minute Launch Canvas block? Now, I have File Manager in here. You don't have to worry about that. And I have Fluent Forms in here, but I'm going to deactivate that because I wanted to just see what I was doing. So Fluent CRM, notice, this is the free version. Free. Okay. Julie asks also, when you do that, are you replacing the whole code in the block or adding to the code? Julie, I'm going to answer your question when I come back to the screen for the other thing. But notice in this, what I'm doing here, I do not have, I'm just going to delete Fluent Forms. I don't have Fluent Forms. And File Manager is just so I can edit the plugin at the time. I have the free Fluent CRM, FluentMCP Canvas block. Now, this is what I wanted to do here. I have my dude, who in this case was our good old friend. Let's bring up, ladies and gentlemen, our good old friend, Mr. Claude. Good afternoon, Mr. Claude. And let's do my new trick. My rate limits are 2 times higher. I want to check to see if he's still connected to the Fluent CRM form tests. So I'm going to go over here to my connectors. And it looks like he's connected to another site called Easy something or other. I was doing another test, so let me make sure that's it. It was called Easy Site. Let me see if that's doing the same thing. Oh, I think it is. I think I was actually, let me see if I have Fluent. Oh, I think this is where I actually got the outcome. So I'm going to use this as the testing ground. So he's connected here. She's connected here. They're connected here. Whoa, that's too big. Let me zoom up a bit, but not that big. Why am I having such trouble? Hold on. let me see if I can zoom this slightly. There we go. Let me look at the pages for a second, because I had achieved what I think was the outcome I wanted. Yes. So let's say height. I'm diverting from simple site, by the way. This is now the other component. Good morning, Claude. It's Spence. I'm on the live office hours. Are you still connected to my site at easysite.instawp.co with MCP? So this is not a dude at connected in the site. This is connected through the MCP, right? FluentMCP. Now, what this achieves, which is also part of my fantasy. John, your answer is this is going to be available. This is my release candidate. I finally got it done for you. You've been very patient with me, but you'll see, hopefully this is worth it. So this is now a desktop tool that if I wanted to have him set up the whole site and build sales pages using just the minute launch canvas block that also has this brand new, oh, see, this one isn't up to date. Interesting. Hold on. Let me make sure I get the right one, because I had the minute launch canvas block I was testing. I want to make sure I'm using the latest and greatest. No, both of these are out of date. Let me update that plugin. Using the minute launch canvas block, he can build some remarkable stuff. Let me just see. I'll ask him the question. On this site, the last time we talked, you were able to demonstrate how you can build an incredibly awesome custom intake form for a new lead or prospect, add them to the CRM with a bunch of different variations of things I need to know about them, and then take them to a delivery, which is a page that lets them know a specific message based upon the type of answers they gave. Can you repeat that experiment here in front of the audience? Give me a custom intake with lots of variations of things you can ask of a person, making them a contact, and then taking them when they submit to the thank you page that has the information about what they specifically gave me in response. Okay, so essentially this is the marketing brain, where at the moment it's working as a desktop agentic connection. But instead of you doing anything with your stack of design tools, the CRM, the forms, you don't even need a forms plugin anymore. He can build the whole thing. And he can build it in a way that it's not only connected like visually, but it's connected everything. There's automations, there's custom triggers, there's custom actions, everything you would need for a sales funnel or for moving somebody along can be done with a prompt. And if you can follow along with what I'm saying, I can now give him a custom skill that has awesome high-level knowledge about what to build and how to build it, because he can build it automatically. Now, take these two concepts and merge them together. If this guy can do the setup through FluentMCP, and I've got in the site, simple site with the block that does a whole page, I can merge those two worlds, and I could have, for example, the main site is a simple site, and even the intake forms and stuff for things like a new lead or new prospect. But the thank you, the deliverables, the custom content can all be done through Canvas blocks. So we end up with like 4 plugins. We have Fluent CRM free, FluentMCP with the connector, simple site, and what else did I leave off? I think that's it. I think there might be 1 or 2 other things, but that's it. You probably are going to want to sell something. So by the way, while he's doing that, I'm going to copy this out. I'm going to go back over here. And then Julie's question was, when you do that update, are you replacing the whole code in the block? Well, I'm replacing the whole code in the block here, Julie, because I have a conversation going with him, just like when you're using Cursor, and I know that I want to replace this whole thing. So I'm actually doing that as a replacement. However, you could just alternatively do a new block and see if you like the difference and then keep the one you want. Let's see what he built. So what did I ask him to do? I asked him to change the header to be black and white and grays instead of just one color. And hold on, I'm going to copy and paste something. I asked him to make it a little more variety of stuff, change the navigation to white with black, make a get started panel, which is, going to be a call to action with something we're going to do, like maybe a form or maybe purchase. And my son is in California. I'm on a live show. You can watch and join in. So essentially I've modified this whole thing into what's really a gorgeous site. And the dude inside is managing the whole thing. He saved this all. Like if I want to save this, I'm going to call this complete site like FluentMCP. And I'll call this other save. I've now got this whole site saved. And I can export this whole thing as a JSON file to re-import it. We'll try that. I'm not sure. I haven't tested this. We're going to try that in a second. Let's go back to our experiment over here with the dude. The dude, in this case, it is a dude because it's Bernardo. The dude has made a complete custom form system. He made the intake form page here. Let's go look at what he built. All right. So I've got this zoom. That's why I have to zoom out because it looks weird when I zoom it. Let's go 100%. Welcome. Let's get started. Okay. Bob Smithy. Bob at Smithy. Notice what I didn't do. I didn't use a form plugin. I didn't have to use a form plugin. I don't need a form plugin. I've got Fluent CRM and an API that we can write right to the CRM. Why do I need a form plugin? He's a way better designer than anything that can come out of the box. Smithy Company. And my role, I can choose, is I'm the business owner. Here's an industry choice. Notice what I didn't have to do. I didn't have to make these complicated drop downs. I didn't have to style them. I didn't have to do shadow. I didn't have to look the multiple block selectors. I have a budget. What do I need? I need this ASAP. All of these, if you're with me, hold on. Let's do a Spence zoom in. Think about how hard it is. Deneen, if you're still here, you do this a lot. John, you do this. Lloyd, all of you guys. Think how hard it is to set up a CRM, make a bunch of custom fields, custom tags, custom variables, then go to the forms plugin and make a bunch of forms that have custom dropdowns and make them all look good and feel good and style good. And then you have to make the logic manually in the old days of if they give you these answers, then give them back the other answer. Then you have to make what happens afterwards. Where do you redirect them? Do you make a page, the thank you page? What conditionals? Imagine all of this is now being done for you because it is. Tell us more. I heard about you from YouTube. I want to get Simple Site and Fluent MCP like now. Because why wouldn't you? You submit this, and of course, because this is me on a live site, there's an error, of course, but that doesn't mean anything because this does work. I just got to double check that I'm on my correct site. There's some kind of simple service error. Just checking in, we had a 404 error, and I'm thinking maybe it's because I didn't configure the MCP with you today. Not sure. Can you help? It could be something simple. We'll find out what it is. But just what's cool right now, even though we'll get this to work, is that first of all, he made all of this stuff for us. Second of all, I know he did it. Let's go look at the other page. Oh, here's what he did. He actually created, and he made a mistake here. Hold on. I'm going to tell him what mistake he made. You know that with the FluentMCP and ML Canvas, you do not need to add an extra plugin. You have a REST API. You remind yourself of that, okay? What he did was he assumed that he needed to make a helper plugin, but he doesn't need to do that. And that's what's interesting, because this is where I'm also going to give him the Constitution. So he's doing a loopity-loop. I'm going to go here to the Constitution on FluentMCP. I'm going to click here and give him this. I'm going to say, it's a simple mistake, but I want you to read the Constitution and remember all of this. Let me know that you've read this. So this is an interesting concept. Remember I told you guys that these guys have reasonable memory, but sometimes they make you feel like they've lost their mind, especially Deneen, you know that. Like Junior goes on a bender. I've made this Constitution, so instead of me getting all crazy about it, I can just give him the Constitution. He did fix this and now claims that it works. And I think we're in the same URL as before. So while I give him the Constitution, I'm going to open this page, which I think is what we've already got. I'm going to test this page. Let me see, by the way, before I give it to him, if this is fixed. Probably has to reload, but I need you to oh, here's the page again. I just need to paste it clean for him. Okay, he's getting it now. So basically, I'm going to make sure this works because it did work perfectly fine. And just to double check it, I'm going to go to the other page that he had made, which was prior to today. And let's see if that form is working. Because I think what happened was he just didn't understand what he's supposed to build, and he used the wrong tool. And that's why the Constitution becomes important. If you give him the Constitution, you don't have to sit there and get upset, because he can just kind of follow the instructions and not have to get, loopity looped. Let me look here. These are all just answers that he gave me. Let me look at the intake form. Yeah. But basically, what I wanted to double check is the last time we talked, I was pretty sure you gave me a form that worked, and you did it because there's a REST API with the minute launch Canvas block that connects to the Fluent CRM, and that should allow the form to submit and add the contact and redirect. That's all I wanted you to do with this new example, okay? All right. So let's see if he figures it out, but let's use the one he did before, because I'm going to do Tony Lama. Tony@llama.com, select the CRM. I'm going to choose a couple things. Now, I'm not 100% sure. There is a possibility I did delete or turn off that form plugin, but I'm pretty sure I don't need the form plugin. So let's see if this works. And it works. So it does work. I think he just made a boo-boo. But notice what happened. I just said Tony Llama. And now let's go on the back end. And I just, I used a different form that he had made earlier. Let's go and see Tony Llama in the database. And here's Tony. So Tony was added to my CRM. And look what he got. He got tags, landing page lead, sales consulting coaching, sales physical products, sales services, intermediate. All of the things that I needed to know about Tony were added automatically from a form that Bernardo added. Deneen asks, have to head out. Okay, we'll call you. I have nothing to do with money.net plugin. Okay, so let's see if he fixes what he did here, because I want to merge these two ideas together. What I'm trying to explain to you is, on this site, I was working on improving, and I spent many, many days this week. The current Canvas block has high-end features built into it that if a tool, whether inside your site or outside of your site, creates the right syntax, and the syntax is documented, that it automatically knows how to talk to the Fluent CRM. This required me to add helper plugin capability to the Canvas block. Doug Sheehan and I were working on this before, and I realized that what was necessary was a special PHP helper functionality to essentially make it possible for whatever design was on the front end to connect directly with Fluent CRM. That's in there now. When you combine this capability with what's possible in the Minute Launch simple site, this now makes it possible to build single site solutions that also have the capability of doing what this new visual helper can achieve, which is you can have one of these panels be a custom intake form, or it can lead to a separate page built with Canvas blocks that bypasses the need to have a forms plugin. What's my total plugin count for this whole site right now? It's Minute Launch simple site, FluentMCP, Minute Launch Canvas block. That's it. What do I get? I get 100% transportability, 100% HTML output. I get a full CRM. I can create any kind of product or services that I want. 3 plugins, incredible control, incredible power, and simplicity. I can use an LLM tool that's on my desktop. I can use one that's in my browser. I can use them together. The possibilities are really endless. Now, just to make this interesting, I'm going to go and see if I can install Simple Site to this other site that has the Fluent MCP already in it. So here I'm at Easy Site. Let's add, and let's get rid of the debug manager tool, because I just want to show you how stupidly simple this is. I'm going to just add the Simple Site. So just doing a gut check. Here's my whole WordPress setup. And yes, by the way, it is true that the dude knows about Simple Site. Okay. I just want to let you know I installed the plugin right now for ML Simple Site, which for the moment you don't have to do anything about, but I just want you to acknowledge. Can you see the endpoints and stuff for Simple Site? And I'm going to spell it properly, Simple Site. Let's see if he knows. Fred asks, Simple Site is going to be available today, finally. It will be part of a Minute Launch bundle. I want to talk about that a little bit too. The whole business model and what's going on, because anybody who's a Minute Launch customer gets all of this. If you're a Fluent if you're a Fluent MCP customer, you aren't getting Simple Site necessarily, but I'm not sure. That's what I want to ask you guys about. Notice, by the way, that Bernardo can see it. He can see minute launch simple site. He can get the site, save the site, update the settings, add blocks, get previews. So in answer to Julie's earlier question, I already contemplated an agentic tool who can do multiple things like Bernardo. He actually can manage the exactly, Fred. High fives all around to everybody. It's Christmas has come twice this year. He can manage the complexity of how many people are sitting at the table, or how do I arrange the dinner plates and so forth. But the dude in the site, or the dudette in the site, I'm not 100% sure yet, right? I think I'll work it out. But for right now, okay, I'm on easy site. Let's go to simple site and set this up together. To set this up, there's out of the box some sample stuff. I can click here, and I think this should load up some sample blocks. I'm not 100% sure if that's still working or not. Let's see. Replace all content. Yes. Okay, let's save it. And now, out of the box, if I don't do anything, I'm going to display this on a specific page, and I'll put it on a sample page. And notice I'm just doing all the default stuff. Couple things I got to change. First of all, I don't think there is let's do it this way. Hold on. Let's put it on the home page and see if that works. I have to, pretty sure I have to set the permalinks, because if I don't, the plugin just doesn't know that there are things that it can change. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so out of the box, doing nothing else, I get this cool sample data, right? Next, I can see the sample data that I have, and I can use it or change it or modify it or just delete it because it's boring me. So let's delete this, and let's delete that. And by the way, this may or may not work because I've never done this before, but I just want to show you how easy it would be for yourself or the dudes that you have to do this. Okay, so I've deleted all the content. The first thing I want to do is, remember I had that file from the other site? Let's see if the import works. I have no idea. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I download, here's MLS My Site Baby. This was at 10:53. So let's try this one. Let's see if this works. I have no idea. I've never actually tested this part. Save changes. It's looking pretty good. I think it worked. So let's look at the site now. Okay. So first of all, I just want to pause because this is where dramatic effect. Oh my God. I'm really excited right now. I just showed you, and I didn't realize this was going to work because I hadn't tested it, but like, I just built a super awesome complex site. Let's say it was something that I've been working on for a while, or like any of you guys, Julie, Fred, John, Lloyd, Deneen even. You make something awesome and you want to sell it to 1,000 people. Okay. I just showed you how literally in one click, you can take that downloaded JSON, and now you've got the full custom site ready to modify. What do I mean modify? Well, let's just change the way this works. Okay. So now out of the box, I just go to the dude here. He needs to be set up. I go into settings, and I need to add a key for Open Router, and I need to choose which model. I'm going to use Claude Sonnet 4.5. I can get a key at Open Router, or if you guys participate, you get a key from me anyway. New easy site, simple site key. I'm just making shit up right now. I'm just going to copy this key and paste it in. That's as hard as it is. Super, super, super hard, right? I'm just kidding. Now I can go back here and I can test. Ground control to Major Tom. Let's see if it answers. I'm just kidding with that prompt, but just to see if it does anything. It's going to hopefully have a sense of humor. And if it's ready to go, now that's what's interesting. It literally took me literally. What I could do is I could take the site that's here. All right. And I go to sample page. And I go, I like your humor. You're funny. Here's the site I'm working on. Could you modify this to, instead of the panels being black, can you change the black panels to the same orange color? And then I got to just, I used my tool, so it overrode what I had copied, but let me just give it the thing. Okay, so I'm going to paste the URL in, because remember, this works exactly like Bernardo. It is Bernardo. It's just Bernardo in the site. So what I've asked it is, look, here's the site. Just change the output of the, thing. Okay, now I'm going to make it a little easier because I don't know if you fully understand. So I'm going to take the whole code. I mean, this layout, change the dark black panels to orange. I'm just going to give him back the code, just like I would do if I was using Bernardo on the left or cursor. By the way, it's interesting too, because I'm not sure if Bernardo can do something, but I'm going to give him this. I'm going to say, hey, Bernardo, even though you could technically write this, just help me out as a designer. Here's the layout we were using. Make something new out of this, something wild and crazy, maybe unicorns and puppy dogs and rainbows, and give me back the code. Thank you, Fred. Fred has a dog that is a combination between a greyhound and a pit bull. And if he doesn't walk it, that poor baby's hips fail and he has to go back for more surgery. So I'm just teasing. Fred, good to see you, my friend. Talk to you soon. Have a good walk. So let's see if Bernardo comes up with something. But in the meantime, I wanted to see if my dude here came out with something. He's still generating it. So let's see who wins the race. Okay, he came up with something. I'm not even going to show you what it is. I'm just going to copy it and paste it. And by the way, I'm going to save this as version 2 simple site orange blocks. That way I'll know what it was that I saved, right? Making notes for my memorial here. Let's preview it. Doesn't feel like he changed it. I don't see you changing the black section backgrounds to orange. Can you try again? Let's see what Bernardo did. The neat thing, though, with Simple Site is, notice the entire operation is all happening in one screen. So I wish Anne was here, but like Anne has explained in the past that she's had clients that feel overwhelmed with WordPress, and rightly so. I don't think I copied the whole block here. That's what I'm going to try again. And if that's the case, I think that having this in one location with just copy paste simplicity is going to be helpful. Oh, the reason it didn't work is because it wasn't done making it. I rushed Bernardo. Now, Julie asked a good question. Am I using Git for this? I am using GitHub still, but GitHub here would be a manual process. So for example, let's say that I was done doing this and Julie and I have a site which we work together. Julie, I think it's here. Let's say I was working with Julie on this and I wanted to give her the new design. I would just upload by adding the file, the new design HTML, right? I'd be like, I'll call this simple site design 1.html, right? And Then what I could do is give it to her dude to use, right? So if I literally go over here and I took the design that I had and I pasted into GitHub, now Julie literally can have this and use this immediately, because she can just give the URL to her dude or dudette to make use of in her site with Simple Site. Now, here's the wild, magical unicorns and puppy dogs and rainbows version. Let's see if I can copy this down here. Let's see what happens when I do this. Again, I can close this for simplicity so I don't have to have all that scrolling. And let's see what I got. Unicorns, puppy dogs, rainbows, wild and crazy stuff. Now, I did ask the dude here to fix his thing, and he did. So now I'm going to do a more sane example, and I just paste around, save. Are you even picking up, hopefully, how quick and dynamic this is? Like, I'm doing stuff now in one screen that's making websites that have all this capability all on a single page with whichever tool I want to use, inside or out. Now, let's do something really wild here. And this is my Spence drum roll. I think I need to use the drum roll here. All right. We were just asking Bernardo about making that cool landing page panel. Remember, I showed you that landing page panel here because he had done that the first time the right way, right? So I think it was this one. Nope, it wasn't this one. Okay, enough laughing. It's not that funny. I think it's this one here. Okay, what if we edited this page, which is in Canvas Block? Looks like he's on an older version of it. Let's just take that and see what happens if we make a panel out of it. And we're going to do a Simple Site, right? So Simple Site, because these guys can work with the same tool. If I go here, I'll leave the whole site block alone, and I'll just add a new block, and I'll paste that in. I could see that it's there. I could put it above or below or mix it in. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to impress you with that. We'll call this intake form. My whole point, though, is that if I wanted to use this as part of or separate from or above and below, I've now got an intake form that's part of the page. Notice I scroll down, right? I could actually tell the guy to make that in the middle. And now let's add, Julie Clark, julie@clark.com. And she's using Fluent CRM, and she's interested in these services I have to offer. And she's an expert at this point. Show me the solution. She gets added to the CRM. She gets taken to the appropriate expert level page that matches her skills. She gets added into my site, into Fluent CRM, the free version, as a contact. Interestingly, that didn't happen there, but we know it worked for Tony Lama, so I'm going to have to say I'm not sure why. Let's pretend that she did. And then the automations. I want to just show you this thing. I think it's on this site. Let's see. If I create from scratch, look what I've got. I've got a new trigger. The new trigger is called Minute Launch Canvas Block Form Submitted. That is to say, now that we're using Minute Launch Canvas Block for custom forms, I can have this on any particular page be a trigger to start an automation. One other thing I've got custom actions. Send email campaign. Or I can use the regular send custom email. But notice, when you're in the free Fluent CRM, normally you can only send a custom email. With the Minute Launch Canvas Block, I enable the ability to also send a custom email campaign. And what this means is that you can essentially use the free Fluent CRM to do 99.99% of what you need to do for yourself and a client. Why? Let's talk about the business for a second. And I'm going to wrap it up because it's 11:22. Okay. The thing that I foresee from all of this, and this is where you guys can help me out, is I've just demonstrated, hopefully, and this is really exciting to me. I have the FluentMCP plugin, which is just doing a remarkable job connecting anybody's desktop agentic tool to WordPress. I've got the meta-launch Canvas Block, which is a global physical plugin that works on any WordPress site to enable this new methodology of getting rid of all the page builders, having amazing capability to use the free Fluent CRM and not have to use forms, but be able to make gorgeous intake funnels, sales funnels, marketing funnels, anything you want, and not have to buy any other outside plugins. I've got the Simple Site plugin, which now makes it possible for anybody to build an entire site on one page. And even if you don't have cadence underneath the hood, you can quite literally just have the whole site configured in one place. And as I showed you, you could save and export all of the components or the whole site to reuse for other things. Then those tools work together. There's a dude inside of Simple Site that you can communicate with that can build stuff that you can use, by the way, not just in Simple Site, but you can also use that stuff in Canvas Block. They all talk to each other through MCP and REST APIs. So Bernardo on your desktop can talk to Canvas Block. Canvas Block is seen by and can be known by the dude in the site, but vice versa. Either one of them can collaborate, like I just showed you, to make cool stuff. The stuff that they make is now agnostic to anything and everything. It's simply HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, some Ajax. But as long as you have the Simple Site plugin, the Canvas Block plugin, the FluentMCP, crazy shit ensues. So here's what I want to ask you guys. My belief is that my larger business model benefits from having something from everybody, but in a simplified way. The minute launch system, which is 47 for the old plugins, only plugins, 97 for the hosted with support and old plugins, 197 a month for add the AI stuff. That system is bulletproof. That thing is just killing it. And most of you are on that. I can give all of you guys these other capabilities and they're guilt-free. That is the relationship that I want, because that makes it possible for you to do amazing stuff. The FluentMCP did really well at Black Friday because I sold it as a lifetime deal and I sold it as you buy it once and that's it. I would like to extend that and mix that into the whole scenario, not for the people who have minute launch, but for the people who just kind of want to buy less often, not a monthly subscription. And what I'm thinking is, as promised, the minute launch lifetime deal was a great proving ground on how valuable this could be. I'm thinking that the lifetime deal is going to be at least triple that if I keep it around. Like lifetime single site would be $14.97, not $4.97. But then I would probably have an annual $4.97. That would allow somebody to host it themselves, no support from me, no hosting from me, just get the components. But you could pay $4.97 a year and do all the stuff that I'm showing you, which when you think about it is really crazy anyway, because you're going to save at least $1,000 of other plugins and God knows how much hair pulling and everything else. But what I was really thinking about is I have all these professionals, from doctors to legal professionals, financial professionals, social people, real estate agents. What they really are wasting their time and energy on is all these other marketing solutions, all these AI solutions, all these things that they pay people to do that you can now do. I didn't show you, by the way, But like in the simple site, the dude can make his own, or she can make her own logos. So even the logo can be made, and I'll show you before I close out, made and added to the site. It's like, I don't even need to go to Canvas anymore. So I was thinking for that, a solution that's $4.97 a month, that's a full marketing solution. In other words, that it has all the components of one of these sites for a professional done for you, but at a very low level, lightweight, or at a pro level, $12.97. And the reason that I thought that was interesting, and I'm going to test it out, is because it does seem to me that most of the people that are business owners that will benefit from this don't know about WordPress, don't care about WordPress, don't want to understand WordPress. Why would they? And for what I just showed you guys, nobody needs to know anything about WordPress. I mean, quite frankly, if I go back over here, if you go in and you have simple site and you're a business owner, I can hide all of these menus, and all I need to show is simple site, and that's it. And if this was your whole business, wouldn't it be cool if I said, hey, can you create a new logo for this site and call it simple site is cool, and do something interesting with, like, I don't know, a nice image of something cool. I have no idea what that is. The point is, he can make a logo, she can make a logo. If you were a business owner and I gave you a tool that was set up, for example, that it would have the emails you want to send once a week, or for example, it would have the newsletter set up, or it had the intake form, or schedule your bookings, $4.97 would save you thousands of dollars a month. I have had clients that are spending $10,000 a month. I have clients that work with people I know that I respect who do email marketing that isn't a fraction of what this could do for the client, and they get paid $4,000 a month. I mean, it's just, to me, logical that I would be selling this as an outcome instead of the parts, because that's what I'm getting at with you guys, is that as we've now moved down the chain, you'll have your own verticals, and many of you have already launched it. But what I'm trying to say is I'm now seeing outcomes that I want to sell the outcomes. In fact, one of the things I want to share with you, which I thought was amazing. Remember, one of the things that I sell to you is the Fathom AI that pulls all your Fathom stuff into the site. Well, one of the things that happened this weekend, let me see if it comes up if I just type it. I have it saved, Fathom. I think it was, I don't know, hold on. I have the saved link here, is that the outcome I saw, which is interesting because I've already got a solution for this, is this. It's called, I have so many things that I love to share. Hold on. Video transcription. Here it is, Transcription Explorer. Somebody, I'm not going to sell something for $29, but somebody made a tool that they sell, I guess, one time maybe for $29. What is this? It's $29 to bulk export your Fathom transcripts. That's already a plugin in Minute Launch, right? I mean, if you go here, I use this every day, and you can do this endlessly. So it's interesting to me, ML Fathom. It's interesting to me because I already have a tool that does all this stuff. And if I wanted to sell it, there's potentially, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of people who would probably buy this sort of thing ready to go. And I think that for all of you guys, Doug has a comment on this. I think for all of you guys, that's kind of what we're looking at now, is that we should be going to end results. Doug says, go jump, gotta jump, excited to get simple. Yes, Doug, we'll talk to you over the weekend. I think that selling outcomes like this might be very interesting going forward. And we'll see how it works out. Here's a call that I had with Julie that, you know, This is actually the archive of the page, but the actual editor of view calls is here. And this interface is wonderful because I can take notes, I can use the AI, I can highlight it, I can go back and watch the original recording, which once I've signed in with Google, I mean, this is really powerful stuff. So the point I'm asking, and you guys privately, otherwise can give me some feedback, is I think that where I'm going to go with this is I'm going to stick with trying to simplify this down, make it a system that all of us can use for our client outcomes, and then just spend all the time making awesome businesses and ideas come to life instead of building endless tools. Obviously, I'm going to keep updating the tools. Notice this. I have 3 outputs here: download, save to media, set as logo. If I click set as logo, guess what happens? Nothing. No, I'm kidding. Guess what happens? If I go over here, it should have set the logo. And let's see if it did or didn't. I don't know what happened there. Let's see. I'm on the wrong website. That's why. If I say set as logo and I go here, it should have, yeah, there, set the logo. And let's take a look at the site. I don't know why is it still bouncing. Oh, that's interesting. What's interesting about that is it did upload the logo, but what's interesting about that is I'm wondering if because I imported that, I have to do something else to change it. So we'll find out. But you'll notice here that it took the logo and it added it in. That's the only point I want to make, which is I didn't have to design a logo. The client didn't have to design a logo. I still have a few things to probably sort out here. There's a bunch of little loose ends, but what I did want to do is make sure that you guys understand that this is here and it's live, and I'm in the final stages as a release candidate of testing it. Oh, I know what the problem is. The reason is because, sorry about that, because I'm not showing the heading. That was the one that was built in. I knew I wanted to fix what was in my head. There it is. So I just want to let you guys know that this is going to come out. I mean, for sure this weekend. It's going to come out as part of Minute Launch. I'm going to be probably sharing some more sales ideas. I'm thinking if I bring all of this under one hood and I just sell outcomes, that I'll be able to demonstrate very clearly how these tools can be used for building businesses and solutions by actually building businesses and solutions, because there's really very little left that I can think of at the moment that would improve the process. There's some fewer and farther between improvements, things that are like the 20 of the 80-20. Okay, my voice is holding up. Thank you guys for sharing. I hope you've had a wonderful holiday and you continue to do so. I'm going to be back in full force Monday. There's a couple of you that I'm doing a few last things, custom projects on I want to work on this weekend at my convenience. And then I really am going to spend the last couple days of the year just setting up for success, the kind of things that I'm sharing with you here. So I may ask some of you to join into the VIP area. I may ask some of you to reconcile your accounts if I get rid of the rest of my Cloudways stuff, which I'm doing, and put everything into Rocket if I need you to resubmit your credit card or something. But basically, I want to enter the new year like everybody, ready to rock and roll with some amazing new tools, and then just spend 100% of my effort on teaching and showing how to make and sell those outcomes. Because this has been a wonderful 6 months. I mean, July through December, and I'm grateful for all of you guys, but I feel like that's the only thing holding me back right now is myself, is making something out of what I've already created. Thank you. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great family time, and I will talk to you on Monday. Ciao.